Hi everyone, it's Jack from Jack's English. As you can tell by the thumbnail, we're looking at a Chinese cowboy and how he became fluent in English. We're going to look at what he does, why he does it, and how you can do it too. So we're learning from the Chinese cowboy today. You've probably never heard of him. I hadn't heard of him until recently. But this is going to be a different lesson to normal because we're going to look at a documentary of an English learner and see how his techniques can benefit us. So please let me know in the comments below what you think about this style of lesson and whether you'd like me to do more of this in the future. Also, don't forget to give me that like before we move on. So recently I was watching YouTube as I always do, and this guy came up.
I like being a cowboy because you have that image of you being the tough man in this cruel world.
Obviously it's really rare to see a Chinese cowboy, so I was curious and I continued watching to see what it was all about.
Bruce is one of more than 15,000 students from China studying in Texas, but he might be the only cowboy.
This guy sounds perfectly American, particularly from the south of the United States. But he really is Chinese, and he's a learner just like you.
When I first came to the States, I didn't have a southern accent. I am from Kunming, Yunnan, southwest China.
I think you'll agree he is fluent in English. That's what I feel as well as an English teacher. And as an English teacher, I'm always curious for how learners around the world improve their English and get to such a high level. And then if I can find how they did it, then I can take their methods and kind of give it to you or use it with my students. So let's look at the next clip where we're given a hint as to how he achieved this.
Bruce fully immersed himself in cowboy culture by working on a cattle ranch.
The key word here is immerse. And you've probably heard of immersion technique. So that's what this video is all going to be about today. How the Chinese cowboy used immersion technique to bring his English up to a fluent level. So what is immersion? Immersion is simply defined as deep mental involvement. But when we study English, this means to surround yourself with not only English language, but also things like the culture, the people, society. So you are deeply involved in something. So how did the Chinese cowboy use immersion to become fluent in English? I have analyzed this documentary and found 3 methods that he has mentioned. And now I'm going to summarize and teach them to you. Method number 1 is to use your TV. Now when I say TV, it could be anything. It could be your phone, it could be your computer. Nowadays we are surrounded by media. But in this case, the Chinese cowboy used some TV shows from the past and he used them to improve his English.
I learned my southern accent mostly by watching Duck Dynasty.
I'm fixing to go crazy redneck up in here.
And Jeff Foxworthy's videos.
If your richest relative buys a new house and you have to help take the wheels off of it.
So how did he do that? I would guess that he has done 2 main things. He's shadowed or mimicked what he's heard, and he's analyzed the content deeply. So this is what I want you to do as well. Firstly, don't go too wide. The Chinese cowboy picked 2 programs that he likes and he's stuck with them. Don't get too wide in your content. Pick 1 or 2 programs you like and stick with them. Use this content to do shadow or mimicking. Remember, shadowing is talking over the people who are talking, the content. Mimicking is listening, pausing, and then repeating. So start by doing that. That's great for improving your fluency, your pronunciation and accent. Also, don't forget to analyze. So get the script or write down as you hear, is dictation, so that's another way to study, and then analyze it. Find the vocabulary you like, find the phrases that are often used, and then you can copy them. So I think that's what the Chinese cowboy did first. That's kind of the first step, is to use TV content or whatever media you want, and then shadow, mimic, and analyze. So the next method is to get a mentor. And in Bruce's case, it was a very extreme one.
This is James.
And he's my cowboy mentor. He taught me how to ride a horse, how to take care of a cattle.
Now there are a variety of ways of doing this, but I'd like you to consider two. The first one is a study buddy. Now, we're talking about mentors, so this study buddy should be better than you, and they should give you tips of how they studied English. This is not someone who's necessarily fluent in English. They're not a teacher, they're not a native speaker, but they're someone ahead of you who can mentor you in your progress. That's the first way. The other way is to get a stickler. Now, you may have heard the word stickler. A stickler means someone who criticizes you and finds your faults. A stickler would be probably a teacher, or it could be someone who is a native speaker and they are able to say, you did this right, you did this wrong. They are going to criticize you, give you feedback, and improve you that way. So those are two ways that you should be using a mentor. As I said, Bruce's way was extreme, but this definitely added to the immersion experience.
Like Kung Fu training involves a lot of yelling and screaming, and same thing with, I guess, cowboy training here.
So use your TV, get a mentor, and then here is your third and final method. So method 3 is immerse yourself in the culture.
I got myself so much into the cultural and even social aspect of America.
This is where you have to go beyond language. You can't just surround yourself with the language. Try to surround yourself with movies, dramas, posters, books, food, clothing, the pop culture. There's so much of a country that you can immerse yourself in outside of the language. And then of course, naturally, you'll be getting the language as well. So for example, if you like British English, try to follow some of the British English bands. Listen to their interviews, listen to their songs. Try some of the British food. Now I know a lot of people criticize the English food, but there's a lot of good stuff. So try to find out what it is. Try to go to the British restaurant, eat it, give some feedback. You are trying to surround yourself in more than language, it's the culture, and therefore you will naturally improve your English. Another important point is to be proactive with your socializing.
This guy's out here actually, interacting with the local culture.
Yeah.
Even if people are from a totally different culture, try to socialize and immerse yourself in that society as Bruce did. So those are my 3 methods to use immersion in your English study. I think it will really help you. But remember, you're only as good as the time you put into your study. You will really see the benefit, but it is important to put that time in and not just do 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there. That wouldn't be enough. This requires a lot of dedication. As an extra tip, and something that Bruce did, try to develop your own persona in the other language.
你觉得我们说中文的时候，你是不是另外的人？
多少有一点这种感觉。
Now that sounds a little bit difficult, but it very often happens naturally. When you're learning a language and you're surrounding yourself in the culture, it's very common to develop a new persona, which often means that you have a different character in English to when you're speaking in your own language. And that's totally normal and something you should embrace. Okay, so that's everything I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this new style of video. And as I said, let me know your feedback. Tell me if you like this style of lesson and whether you'd like to see more of it in the future. As always, give me that like. I really appreciate it because it allows me to spread to other students like you. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so you can join me for more lessons in the future. I hope you have a wonderful week this week, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.